Everyone couldn't help but look at the location of the bloodvine's roots. Bailey Changqing frowned, stepped forward, and then punched the ground fiercely. With a dull bang, the ground was instantly broken, and large pieces of cement and soil flew everywhere, swept in all directions by Bailey Changqing's fist wind. Zhang Yi and his team couldn't help but take a few steps back, using various methods to avoid the flying soil and rocks. Soon, when the dust settled, everyone hurried forward to observe whether Zhang Yi's so-called evidence appeared. The next moment, everyone's eyes widened, and there was an extremely shocked look in their pupils, and there was a hint of fear surging. The roots of the blood vine, densely packed roots, have been spreading, and it is unknown how much land has been covered. And at the end of these roots, fruits are produced like peanuts. The fruit is surprisingly one corpse after another, humanoid corpses covered with white hair and huge bronze corpses. Some have almost completed the transformation, while others are still in the process of transformation, still retaining the appearance of their former human bodies. Everyone is familiar with them. Aren't they the corpse kings and bronze-armored corpses that they had fought before? Unexpectedly, they all grew from the same tree. No, to be exact, they were cultivated, because it is clear that some of them still retain human characteristics and are transforming into zombies. So the root of the disaster is here. Snow worship sect, you damn bastards! After understanding the truth, Xiao Honglian clenched her fists and roared angrily. Not only her, but everyone present was filled with anger. If this was a natural disaster, it would be fine. They could only bear it. But this is a man-made disaster, and it is a long-planned, despicable, and shameless man-made disaster. Since the end of the world, Snow Worship Sect has suffered the most casualties. Yuan Kongye and Zheng Yixian used the sacrifice of ordinary people to gain the trust and sympathy of other forces. At this time, everyone who understood everything felt that they were being played around by the snow worship cult like a group of fools. If Zhang Yi hadn't exposed the snow worship cult's conspiracy in time, what would the consequences be? Just thinking about it is enough to make people feel cold. I'm afraid that once the investigation team leaves Tianhai City, Yuan Kongye and Zheng Yixian will reveal their true faces and then destroy other forces in one fell swoop. It's not a good feeling to be targeted by a giant python. Despicable and shameless villain. There are people in this world who can be so cruel that they even plot against their own people, Xingtian said angrily. He clenched his fists, and a hint of fear flashed in his eyes. Although no one on the investigation team spoke, their faces were terribly gloomy. The death of Bian Junwu was a huge pain for them. Now they found that the person who killed their captain has always been by their side. They couldn't stand the feeling of being fooled. Bailey Changqing slowly raised his head, squinted his eyes, and had a weird smile on his face. Suddenly he opened his mouth, showing his white teeth, and smiled. "Hey! These guys set up a big game! But we don't like to be fooled by others. Just kill those guys!" The fierce killing intent began to spread around. After everyone here knew the truth, they all wanted to kill the people of Snow Worship Sect. Some people did it for their comrades, some for their families and friends, and some purely for the loss of their own forces. In short, now they have a common goal, which is to kill the guy who played everyone. Zhang Yi looked at the murderous crowd and didn't say anything. But there was a gleam of light in his eyes, and he had a deeper plan in his mind. How strong is Yuan Kongye, who has absorbed so many mutant abilities no one can estimate? Zhang Yi knows that she is very strong, but she is definitely not strong enough to ignore other mutants. If that were the case, she would not have to look at the face of the Jiangnan region. But what about after getting Bian Junwu's ability? How high will her threat index be? Let's wait and see, Zhang Yi said to himself. Bailey Changqing carried his huge knight's lance and turned to walk outside. When he passed by the blasting expert Ye Jikong, he gave him a deep look. "Old Ye, destroy this plant! Such a source of evil cannot be left!" Ye Jikong nodded. "I understand. Leave it to me." The blood vine is the real mother of the zombies. Only by destroying it can the zombie tide in Tianhai City disappear completely. Bailey Changqing strode out of the abandoned building with high spirits, and the other members of the investigation team followed him. The people from several major forces followed them without any hesitation. Now, there was no need to communicate with words about what everyone was going to do. The culprit who caused Tianhai City to be almost destroyed must die. Zhang Yi also followed behind everyone silently. Before leaving, he looked back at Ye Jikang. Ye Jikang walked to the blood vine and stretched out his hand to press on the blood vine, only to see a yellow light flash and a red thing with a strange shape like an octopus appeared on the blood vine. A person with the ability to release. It seems that he should be able to condense the superpowers and turn them into explosives that can be exploded at a fixed time. Zhang Yi didn't look at it much. He kept staring at other people's superpower research, which was easy to give people an offensive feeling. He just memorized Ye Jikang's ability in his heart, and then followed Bailey Changqing and the others out. Not long after, there was a sudden violent explosion in the building. Then, the entire abandoned building collapsed, and Ye Jikang walked out of the smoke of the explosion with a calm face. At this time, the remaining members of the snow worship sect were startled by the loud noise and appeared outside. They watched the abandoned building slowly collapse and then watched Bailey Changqing and other murderous people, and they were too timid to step forward. Bailey Changqing didn't even look at them and walked towards St. John's Cathedral with his knight's lance. Some of the snow worship believers saw this scene and mustered up the courage to step forward to stop them. If you want to see the leader, you must be notified. A huge black shadow flashed in the air, and the bodies of those people turned into a residual image in the air and disappeared instantly. Zhang Yi only saw a large group of blood mist erupting in the air. Bailey Changqing's speed was so fast that even he couldn't see it clearly. But a few seconds later, a sound of breaking came from the wall of a building hundreds of meters away. From a distance, two huge pools of blood appeared on the wall. It was like a mosquito that was slapped to death on the wall. Only Liang Yue stared at Bailey Changqing's back and cautiously reminded Zhang Yi, "This person's strength is so strong, at least equivalent to 3 Ling Feng's or even higher." In the past, in the eyes of Zhang Yi and others, Ling Feng was equivalent to the synonym of a perfect warrior, because his speed, strength, agility, and other attributes are all maxed out. But this is the first time they have seen a powerful warrior who can completely defeat Ling Feng in the field of enhancement. Separated by only a door, the atmosphere on both sides is as tense as a bowstring that will break at the touch, led by Bailey Changqing, Xiao Honglian, and other forces. A total of more than 30 mutants gathered here. They stared at the black door decorated with sacred patterns, but no one rushed in rashly. Wu Di took a step forward, and a huge ball of light appeared on his body. Then, like a sharp sword, the floating cannon blasted towards the door of the church. In a flash, the door of the church was blasted to pieces. Zhang Yi's eyes were fixed on the interior of the church. The moment the door shattered, he saw the scene inside. Under the altar, Yuan Kongye was sitting on the steps, holding the dead Zheng Yixian in his arms. After seeing Yuan Kongye, Wu Di's eyes burst out with strong hatred. To him, Bian Junwu was like a father, and once Bian Junwu died, he would blame anyone who caused this result. Of course, the one he hated the most was the leader of the snow worship cult. "Go to hell!" Wu Di stood in the front, and hundreds of light balls appeared around him at the same time, reflecting him like a god. Dense floating cannons shot out like a storm, carrying a terrifying force that destroyed everything. At this time, Yuan Kongye finally raised her head and looked at them. In those eyes that were as cold as an iceberg that had not melted for thousands of years, a strong hatred broke out. The last person in the world who was worthy of her trust was also dead.